Good afternoon and welcome to this episode of Market Watchers. We are heading into the week of May 18th. And if you can see here on Friday, we did have some rotation from the semiconductor stocks and AI stocks into some of these beaten up stocks here, especially Microsoft. You also did see a big jump in the energy stocks as well, but on the broader market, you can see we did have a nice sell-off. So then if we go over to the SPX here, I've got a couple things I want to look at. First, I'm going to start on the weekly chart. In one of the cool things I did found is if you take the bottom from 2020 and measure it to the highs in 2021, and you drag that over to the bottom here, you essentially get the top here, very close. We only really had wicks go above this top. So we essentially called the top by doing that. And actually, if you guys take this and put it to the bottom here in the Liberation Day sell-off, you actually get close to where we are now. We're just slightly above. We've wicked above. We really haven't closed above on the weekly. So that is one of those things I am watching. And part of technical analysis is testing crazy things out like that. Definitely not something to trade off, but it is a secondary factor I am watching. And I will head down to the weekly or the daily chart here. And as you can see, one of the things I am watching is for a potential um, a potential wedge pattern forming here. You can see we did get a little bit of rejection off here just by connecting the high over here from February 25 to the high of October 25th. And that essentially got our high here. Now, I don't really see or have any conviction that this is the market top. This very well could just be a correction. First major support level I do see is down here at this blue trend line. This has been resistance for a long time now, so I would expect it to be pretty good support. Also, I do think we could come back and retest all-time highs. That is something that we do typically do before we do have a continuation. Another thing too, always just draw your fibs, see where that takes you. As you can see here, 382 is at a pretty nice level. You can see we did have some trading action here, so I would expect us to get a bounce in that previous all-time high to 382 level. So if we go over to the, this is the NQ1, which is the NASDAQ mini futures, we actually do have a pretty good trend line, and you can see where we got rejected here recently. So if you connect this low in April 25 to these pivots here, you can see this acted as support, 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 and then flipped it into resistance, went down here. Then now we are back at that trend line. Guess what it is? It is still support. We did get a sell-off. I am slightly short on the NASDAQ right now. Nothing crazy because we, again, didn't get really a topping signal, not yet. So it still definitely could be a correction. I'm kind of just in a wait and see moment and see what kind of action we get. We could come up here again because we also do have this parallel. We did slightly miss it. We haven't tagged it yet. But if you draw a parallel from this low to this low and raise it up to this high, it does give us in that area as well. I will be watching to see if that parallel does hold up. See also the midpoint of the parallel did play out a little bit, nothing crazy, but it is something. Over to the stocks. And if you don't know, this is the semiconductor ETF. This thing has gone parabolic in the past month and a half to 2 months. So if you take the bottom here from March 30th, 2026 to the high, it's about 72%. As you can see, it's in 42 days, which is absolutely an insane move. Stocks or ETFs, I mean, should not move like this. Is absolutely crazy. We are due for a correction. We are having a pullback here. Again, I don't see a topping signal. We do have some trend lines here. You can see this was all acting as support. We flipped it into resistance. And I never thought we were going to come up and be able to touch that again because it's such a vertical line. We haven't quite tagged it yet, but we are very, very close. So I am watching that. We also do have another trend line back a little bit farther that is pretty similar. Support, 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 support. And then we flipped it, and now it is resistance, as you can see. And we did get through that briefly, but now we are back below it. So it's something I am watching those two trend lines and seeing what sticks. But as far as where we would correct to, the levels I have, and if you draw a fib, we don't really have too much here on the fibs. So I'm not gonna give anything concrete there. We do have a gap fill here and some trading action. So really, that's best support you have. And one bad thing about having these straight vertical moves is you aren't going to have a lot of support on the way down and when you are correcting. You had the previous all-time highs, but obviously that is way lower. I don't know if we get there. If we do get there, that's a pretty aggressive sell-off. Do the measurement on that. Is about 27%, so that'd be a pretty significant sell-off still. However, I do think it is like we do pull back here, and that will be a good day trade. It's still 9%, so pretty significant. We'll see what happens, though, but it is something I am watching throughout this. Next, one of the trades I will probably be taking this week is XRP one way or the other. And as you can see, we've really had this wedge, and really it's a bear flag with this big down move and then sideways consolidation. And it's a really nice wedge pattern, actually. And we did try to get above it, but we never confirmed. And probably the reason why we try to get above it, this candle was the Clarity Act. That was when it was passed. And as you can see, we did try to push up, we did get a push down, and we have reversed that entire candle, which is pretty significant to me. It does mean it's bearish. I'm not entered in this trade yet. I am looking for a close below and confirmation, and then our next major level of support is going to be at about 128. If we break below that, we are going to go into a little bit of discovery. Maybe 111 could be some support, but really am not confident in support from there. Another watcher this week that everyone, especially institutions, are going to be watching is the 10-year Treasury. 10-year Treasury has started to spike, and we are in a shock zone. So really, I mean, if we continue going up here, things will get dangerous, and I do imagine we will see a sell-off in the stock market. And because we had such a big run-up in a lot of these indexes, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some profit taking from the indexes where people just in the past 2 months are up, 10 to 20%, if not more. And they're just throwing it into air quotes risk-free bonds where you can get, around 4%. I mean, that's really great, honestly, for them. And really, as you can see here, we had this wedge. It looks like we are starting to try to break out of it. Will get dangerous. It would be crazy to get above 5%, honestly. We haven't been really above 5% since 2007. So that would be very, very significant and very, very bad. And it tells you that people really have doubt in the dollar, not just domestically, but globally. And it is a concern that we will be watching throughout this week. And last but not least, you have oil. And oil here, it really all depends on Iran. That is a daily watcher, just to see what goes on there. If a real deal gets made, or if we have a continuation of missile launching, and if we could see a straight opening, I would expect us, if we did get an actual deal and a straight opening, I do expect us to come back down to probably 72 pretty quickly, 72, 73 pretty quickly. But really the big support level is this 76 or 67 level. And as you can see here, if you zoom out, this thing has been a great indicator of resistance, 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 and then even support, um, all along the way. So I would expect us to stay above 67 for an extended period of time, even if we did get a deal made soon. But it is something that I will definitely be watching in this week. And that kind of concludes the things I'm watching for at this moment for this week. If you guys see anything that I missed, please drop it in the comments and I will try to review it and go over it in my videos. Thank you very much.